When Pochetino left Chelsea in the summer, people were saying, why have they made that decision? Who's going to come in to replace him? Currently now, Chelsea are in 4th place. They've got Enzo Mareca as manager, and things are looking so good. Just before we get into Maresca's revolution at Chelsea, I'm just going to ask you, subscribe to the channel, please. I've just hit 1,000 subscribers, which I was planning on hitting at the end of the year. Now the goal's 2K. Subscribe, and let me get to that goal. So most recently, Chelsea won 8-0 against FC Noah in the Europa Conference League, but I'm more concerned with the fact that they're in 4th place in the Premier League and looking like such a good squad. Maresca's revolution is fully underway. They line up in a 4-2-3-1, but that quickly transitions to a 3-2-5 as Gusto pushes down the right wing and Reece James or Cucurella sits back. Lavia and Caicedo hold their position at CDM, and before you know it, Chelsea have Palmer and they've got Madueke in the inside channels, and they've formed a 3-2-5. Against Newcastle, you can see how they get into this 3-2-5 shape as well. Caicedo and Lavia are holding. In this situation, it's Madueke on the right, and then it's Gusto and Palmer on the inside channels, Neto on the left, and Jackson on the ball. And in this instance, Chelsea did actually score. Jackson held up the ball really well, Palmer got played through, scored a goal, and he was narrowly offside, unfortunately. But this shows that they have their maximum width approach, which basically means that they want to hold the width on both sides of the pitch to exploit the opposition's defence, stretch them out, which gives players like Palmer, Madueke, Jackson chances to be close to the goal with less defenders around them. And they do actually have multiple avenues of attack. They've got so many players with sheer quality. They score from crosses, there's a lot of cutbacks, especially when Pedro Neto gets down that left wing. There's also through balls. They're averaging 2 goals per game at the moment, which just typifies how Maresca has them firing. Now this is their goal which got them a 1-1 draw against Nottingham Forest. Sancho has the ball in a deep position for him, and he's got options around him. Now that yellow pass is what he plays over to Cole Palmer, and within an instance Cole Palmer turns, passes it over to the right wing where Madueke is sitting 1v1 against the defender. There's a lot of Chelsea players making runs into the box and occupying other Forest players, and Madueke with his insane quality cuts in, scores into the bottom post and gets the equaliser for Chelsea. Now this goal was in the space of about 5 seconds from Sancho having it and Madueke scoring it. And it typifies how Chelsea are so dynamic in attack, because Madueke getting a 1v1 against the opposition left back in that position is something which is only made from the movement of the Chelsea players. And I want to touch on them defensively a little bit as well, because when Thiago Silva left last season, people were thinking that that leaves a massive gap in their defence because he started most games for them. At this point, Fofana was out injured for the whole season basically last year. Colwell was playing at left back. Badiashile and Disasi weren't amazing, and Tosinaro Debayo wasn't even known at the club. But now you transition to the middle of November, they've got Colwell transition from left back to centre back, playing alongside Fofana, who's overcome his injuries and is in top form. Colwell has played every minute in the league this season for Chelsea, which just typifies how good of a player he is and how much Maresca trusts him. And defensively, they sit in a bit of a 4-4-2 shape sort of thing. Palmer in attacking midfield normally pushes up with Nicolas Jackson to help form the two, and this is a moment in transition against Forest, so it's not exactly the most proper 4-4-2, but you can see that the defenders are a flat 4, and then you've got your 4 behind the attackers. I would like to highlight how the Chelsea midfield are so close to the Chelsea defence, because an opposition like Forest, or basically any team in the Premier League, try to find those half spaces, but if you're covering those half spaces between the midfield and the defence, that means that the opposition can't get into those, and it means that their attacking threat is nullified. They do also have the youngest squad in the league, which means that they can play a high press, they've got lots of energy to last all game, and they've obviously got a lot of squad depth, which has been, highly publicised all over the media, which has worked in Maresca's favour. And let's talk about that big squad a little bit, because a player like Chilwell hasn't played a single league minute in the Premier League. The likes of Disasi, Nkunku, Dewsbury Hall, Badiashile all have played less than 290s in the Premier League. Felix and Mudryk are also included in that, but the players which I've just listed all get minutes in cup competitions in the Europa Conference League. So it means that Maresca's big squad conundrum is sort of solved, because he's got so many games going. And you see the likes of Pep moaning about all the football that the teams have to play this season, or lately in football in general, especially with European competition. But Maresca's basically said, I've got a big squad. Pep, why don't you just get a big squad and use it? There's a lot of players on the market and a lot of players with quality. A team like City shouldn't have these issues really, but that's for another time. And ultimately, I think that there is you know, too many matches in football, too much intensity for the footballers. But Maresca's not using it as an excuse. Maresca's just said, you know, I've got a big squad, let's make use. And in this video, I've purposely not mentioned the Todd Bowley situation, the 9-year contract situations or anything, because ultimately I don't think it's relevant to Maresca and his playing squad. I think he's done a really good job with the bolstered squad he's got, with the young squad he's got, and they're doing really well. Now, I think that they could win the Europa Conference League this season, or potentially get top 4, or potentially both. But let me know down in the comments how you think that they're going to do this season. Has Maresca done as well as you expected him to? And are they missing Poch? So this is the end of this video, but if you want to carry on watching more content, last week I covered how Nuno Espirito Santo has got Nottingham Forest looking like a top 4 side in the Premier League. You do not want to miss it. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.